So I was like, what, are you sure? She was like, listen, you might never get a chance to do this again. It was just, for me, the perfect scenario. Obviously, we have the kids on the Friday, driving down and scoring win on Saturday. It was perfect. And even though at the time I was sulking, thinking, can I get a game? I look back now and go, yeah, I probably understand why a bit.
Welcome to the first edition of Latics Live. Very pleased to say we're joined by Craig Mahon. How you doing, Craig?
Very well, thank you very much.
We'd just like to get a little bit of background about yourself and how you came to Wigan Athletic team. The first place will be enough to go back over 20 years, don't we?
Yeah, I think, well, it all started, obviously my uncle played for the club, Alan, and he obviously done really well at the club, and he was loving his time here, and I think it was 14, 15 back in Dublin, playing for a schoolboy team, grassroots team called Celtic, and I was playing in a cup competition out near the airport. I remember as clear as day, out at the airport, and we were playing against a team called Shelbourne we were in the 14s at the time, and we'd won 6-0 and I scored 4, and there was a Wigan scout at the match, because we had loads of scouts come to this. It was just a big tournament in Ireland, and the Wigan scout was at the match, and obviously I think he recognised the name, and he was like, he'd come over to it in the game, so well done. I was talking to him, he's like, are you related to Alan, man? And I was like, yeah, that's my uncle. He's like, I'm from Wigan. He said he never mentioned you. He said what I'll do is, he said, I'll let your uncle know I spoke to you. He says, but well done today, blah blah blah. And then I think about a week or so later, my uncle rang me and he said, speaking to the scout, he said, you done really well. He said, they've asked, would you be willing to come on trial? And I was like, yeah. Because obviously Wigan were in Premiership back then. I was like, yeah, brilliant. So I went on trial, and I think it was the under-15s at Wigan. And I remember I didn't play really well in the games, but I worked hard because I knew it was an opportunity for me. And David Lowe was at the game, and Ditsy was at the game, David Lee, and they were there watching, and I just worked hard. I just done whatever I could to impress, and thankfully I was very fortunate enough to get offered a couple of more trials to come back over. And during that time I actually got offered a trial at Plymouth. And I went over to Plymouth Argyle, and I played a match for them. I scored 3, and I got a phone call 2 days later saying we were too small. So they didn't want me back, so I was starting to panic a little bit. I was thinking, oh no. But then I got a nice phone call off Wigan, asked me to come back over in a few more trials. And I done a few more trials, played a little bit better than I did in the first one. I think Munir with the best of me, but I was very fortunate enough that he offered me a EU team scholarship back then. And then as I started to come over more, and I ended up signing my contract, and my uncle ended up leaving, so I didn't even get to see him. But yeah, it was a strange experience. Obviously, with my uncle being here, probably gave me a little bit of a benefit, honestly, having his name around and people knowing him. But yeah, he always said to me, I'll never try help you. He said, you got to do it yourself. So that's what I did. And then I moved over when I think I just turned 17, and I moved over, and then I've been here ever since. Can't get rid of me.
So you was in Diggs, were you? Did you come on?
Yeah, I was living in Diggs at the time. My uncle obviously was trying to find me places to live and making sure. But I remember for the first 3 months, he said, "Listen, you're going to stay on your own." He says, "Don't ring me, don't text me." He said, "You've got to do it on your own." And I was like, "Why?" And he's like, "You'll understand why." And I was like, "What if I need to?" It's like, "No." He says, "Don't ring, don't text." He said, "Just get through it." He says, you'll thank me when you're older. And I was like, that's just self. At the time, I was like, selfish that way. I can't normally live down in Chester way. But yeah, the first 3 months I struggled, really struggled with homesickness, with everything that we can imagine as a young lad being away from home. I just wanted to be with my mates. I was getting sort of, back then we didn't have video calls or anything like that, or even social media really. We had like MSN, and I had like texts saying like, where all my mates were going out tonight, and I was sitting in Wigan on my own because I didn't know anybody. But I was very fortunate with the Diggs people I lived with. They were they're absolutely amazing. And I think probably if it wasn't for them, I probably wouldn't still be here for the support they gave me. But yeah, for the first 3 months, it was really, really tough. And just cried most nights. Wanted to be home to my mum and my dad and stuff like that. But yeah, I got through it. And as my uncle said, it was character building. So it gave me that sort of character to say, well, if I can deal with that, I could deal with most things. And carry on. Today, talk to yourself now.
Yeah, so it's something you find you've even said.
Yeah, exactly. I think he wanted to let me know that, listen, you got to get through these moments in your life. And it's got to be tough, but it will help you. And it did. It made me into the person I probably am today. And it's one of them learning curves that you sort of, at the time, you're not too sure about, but now I'm grateful that he gave me the opportunity just to go and do it myself and cry.
Fabulous. And who was at the club at the time in your year group?
So in the year group, you had like Lewis Montrose, Russell Saunders was in our year group, and then Matty Amson, Carol McMahon was the year below, Danny Redden came in, he was there, Joe Alt, I think there's a lot of good, we had a really good team, really good team. Had the two Polish lads were in the same, Thomas Kupish and Thomas Sifka. They were there, and we had a really good nice group, really good group of lads, and I think that obviously that helped me as well, because we were training every day. I went from training once a week and playing on the Saturdays, training every day. So that was a big culture shock for me. And then so going in every day and sort of enjoying my time with the coaches. We had David Lee and David Lowe with the managers then, and it was just a really nice environment for me to learn. And their coaching and what they done with me, I still use today myself, because I learned a lot from them without even knowing.
And then when you finished your scholarship, you got a professional contract.
Yeah, I got offered a professional contract, which was brilliant. I think at the time Chris Hutchins had just taken over as he had taken over in the second year, and then Steve Bruce had come in, and I was doing really well. But obviously, when you got Antonio Valencia in front of you, you're always going to struggle to break in. But yeah, the fact that I was getting to train with Eamon Heskey, Chris Carter and Paul, them type of players, Chumbonda, Henri, like they were in the prime, McCulloch and all. When you look back, it's the team that they had was frightening. And even though at the time I was sulking, thinking, can I get a game? I look back now and go, yeah, I probably understand why a bit. But yeah, it was brilliant. And then obviously, because when I signed professional, you go into sort of like the reserve team as it was back then, not the 23s. And even going like, I think Keith Bircham was our manager back then. And like going and playing against, like we played at St James's Park against Newcastle Reserves, and Alan Smith played that day and stuff like that. It's so many good memories to play now. I think I played against United and we won 2-1 and I scored a last minute goal. So I have so many fantastic memories of being at the club, but obviously you can imagine trying to break into a team like that is tough. And I went out on loan to Accrington and John Coleman was there as well, and Jimmy Bell, and played a couple of games for them, and I felt really good. Felt like I was starting to sort of mature and understand myself and the game a bit better. But when I come back, there was still no really pathway for me. And then I got a call, I got a call into the gaffer's office, which was Steve Bruce at the time, and he was like, we if we need someone to go buy them. You know what I mean? That was if you think at Wigan back then, they didn't need to rely on the youth system or the reserve system back then. They were well-established Premiership team, and they were doing well. They were, you know what I mean. So at the time it was tough to take, but now looking back, I can kind of understand it. Yeah, I wish I had got another chance to show what I could do, but because I think I got released, and then a month or so later, Steve Bruce left and went to Sunderland, if you remember, and Martinez took over. And I was like, I always did think I would have loved an opportunity to sort of play underneath his regime and see what I could learn, what I could do, and what I could show. But listen, if it's one of them things, I wouldn't change anything in my life now. So the fact that opportunity never happened, it doesn't sort of hurt me, or I'm not bothered about it as such. But it would have been nice to have the opportunity to play underneath someone like him.
Yeah. Wigan Athletic Club, you said in the Northwest, didn't you?
Yeah, because I struggled when I got released because of me contacts, not many contacts. I struggled to get club because I didn't know who to speak to, and I think at the time, although Wigan had done loads for me and looked after me, when you were released back then, there wasn't as such a wraparound care where they tried to look at. Like, I know nowadays the club is fantastic with the academy, and if a lad gets released or anything happens, they're helping, they're looking, they're trying to get him out there, they're making videos for him. At the time, there wasn't such that support system, so we're struggling to get a team, and I ended up actually going to your first couple of games. I ended up in all the Salford before they had taken over from the thing, and I was playing at Salford, and I think that goes on about 70 grand a week. Just I was doing anything just to keep myself in the football loop. So I went there for, I think it was 10, 15 games just to try and get myself going again. And then I was fortunate enough we played against Borsco in a game, and their manager back then asked me would I be interested coming in. And because I still lived in Wigan, Borsco was only 20 odd minutes away, and I thought, yeah. And there was another league up. I think they were Evo Stick Creme back then, Conference North Evo Stick Creme. So I thought, I'll give that a go. It's another step, and as I said, keeps me in that loop. And yeah, it was another learning curve for me, because you went from playing with young lads to where if you won or lost didn't really matter, because there was no league system, where you were playing with men who were earning money from playing football, and if they lost, they'd let you know, or if you made a mistake, you could be costing them a serious amount. So you had to learn and learn fast. So it was good.
Yeah. So going back to your Uncle Alan, where he said you're on your own, you got to learn things. That was another part about learning. Exactly.
That step up was always it always helped me, that learning things and having to learn fast. And I think my Uncle Alan always said to me, respect your seniors. And whenever I was around the club, he says, wherever you do, wherever club you go to, whoever's older than you, whoever's been here longer than you, you hold the door open for them, you say your please and thank you, show you're well-mannered. And I've always done that. And he said, you've never really made that at club until you've played at least 100 games. He says, so never think you're better than what you are. So there are little things that have stuck with me through my journey, and I still sort of hold them as morals now.
Yeah, and talking about one again, suppose there's two clubs that jump out to me in your career. Vauxhall Moses, you love to be Paul,
yeah,
and Chester. Vauxhall, was that is you end up there?
So Vauxhall is very similar to the Borsco story. I was playing at Borsco and I was enjoying my football, and I think FC United were on their way up at the time. So they I think I remember playing at Borsco. We usually get about 100, 200 fans, but when FC played, they ended up like the 2,000 fans, because I think the Glazers just taken over, and FC United were this big sort of part of it that like fans were like, no, we'll create our own club. So I played half a season for Borsco, and I'd done really, really well. And I was starting to enjoy my football and play regularly on it against men. And then the Vauxhall Mopers manager, Carl McCauley, rang me. And I think he had put in 7 days for me. Because back I wasn't signed, I was only just I hadn't signed a contract, I was just signed on. So he put in 7 days for me. After 7 days, he spoke to me. They were in the Conference North as it was back then, not the National North it is now. So for me, it was another step on the ladder. And I went there and I just loved every minute of it. It was just a lovely family club. They didn't have loads of fans, but you had loads of nice people around it. And it was a chance for me to, as I said, on another stage, to try and sort of get up that ladder again. And yeah, it was brilliant. And I think I played over 100 games or so for them. And it was just a really lovely time at that club. And we got into the FA Cup, and we had some great seasons. And for Vauxhall, I think at the time they were punching well above the weight being in that league. So to be a part of that journey and where they were at the time was brilliant.
And then you moved on to Chester.
Yeah, and it's very similar again. We played Chester that year. I remember we played Chester at the stadium and had a great game. I think we drew them 0-0, but I knew after the game that I'd done really well. And then in the summer, I got a phone call off Neil Young, who was the Chester manager then, and he was like, would you be interested in, because they won that league that year, and they'd gone into the Conference Prem as it was back then, the National League now. So it was like, would you be interested in coming in? I thought, another step on the ladder. So so going to Chester, and then obviously with Chester, I was there for I think 7 years. I was there, played like 239 games, I think it is. And it was just a fantastic time for myself and my family. And it's one of them clubs that I like all the clubs that I have hold close to me, because they all part of my journey with Chester, because I was there for so long, and the amount of people I seen coming and going, and what I seen the fans trying to do with the club and the troubles they had. It was the time that I'll never forget.
And you won't forget as well, for a very special reason, Will. It set you to the 7th of November 2014.
Obviously coming up, we beat Stockport County in the final qualifying round of the FA Cup 3-2, and we had drawn Southend away in the FA Cup, and that was on the 12th of November. Oh, sorry, the 8th of November. We were playing then. On the 8th of November, we were drawing Southend away, and then a couple of weeks beforehand, obviously, my wife was pregnant at the time. She got a date that she was due in, and that was the 7th of November. So I was thinking to myself, what's going to happen here? Because if it goes over, which can happen, do I miss the game? Or if anything, complications happens, do I stay with them, with my wife and my kid, or with my wife and kids at the time? I was like, what? But thankfully, on the 7th, on the Friday, we went into Wigan Hospital. The wife gave birth to the two boys, and then I remember everything went well. I think it was about 5 o'clock in the evening. My mum and dad had flown over to surprise me. I didn't know then they were coming. My wife was like, "What are you doing tomorrow?" And I was like, "I don't know." She's like, "You need to go play." And I was like, "Are you sure?" And she was like, "Listen, my mum and dad's here. Your mum and dad, your mum, my sister, my niece was there as well." She was like, "You need to go play." And I was like, "Are you sure?" It's like, because I was still in a bit of a dream. I was holding 2 kids, and I was thinking, what am I doing here? I don't even know how to change the nappy. I can even change myself sometimes. So I was like, are you sure? She was like, "Listen, you might never get a chance to do this again." So the next morning, got up. I understand the way home that night, went to McDonald's because I was starving. So it's probably not a great food prep. I had loads of McDonald's. Woke up the next morning and I thought, right, let's get myself to Southend. So I got myself down to Southend. Drove down, just in case anything went wrong. Drove down, got to the game, started. Ben Hennigan scored a forced goal, if I can remember, from a free kick. Then, I'm trying to think who scored for them. They got a penalty. I think it was Rooney. Yeah. Scored a penalty for them. Rooney's brother. And then, Rooney's brother was with us. He gave away the penalty. If I remember, he gave away the penalty. And then I ended up getting the winning goal in the, I think it was like 68th, 69th minute. And then we hung on for the last 20 minutes. As you can imagine, after the game, obviously full of adrenaline, full of buzz, scored a winning goal. Drove back to Wigan Hospital to make sure my family was okay. Slept on a chair that night in the ward. My missus was in the bed. The 2 kids were in the crib or the cot at the side of the bed, and I slept on a chair. And I don't think I slept much that night because I was just couldn't believe what the last 24 hours, 48 hours has presented to me. And it was, it was unbelievable.
It was fabulous results as well, because Southend were in the playoff places in League 2 of the South. Phil Brown, the manager.
Phil Brown is the manager, and obviously the dugout through the week against Phil Brown as a manager against him. So it's at the time for us to play against Southend, who were flying at the time, and to get a win, and we were in the National League, and it was just, for me, the perfect scenario. Obviously, we had the kids on the Friday, driving down and scoring the win on Saturday. It was perfect that we ended up getting Barnsley in the next round, and we went to Barnsley and we should have won. We done everything but score that game, and then we got the replay at home and they battered 3-0. So it was one of them. We had the chance that day, but yeah, the memories and the times that I've had at Chester, I think I've said it before, when I was at Chester, I sort of came to Chester as a young lad, and I came away as a man, because I'd grown up and spent so long there. the memories that I create that club and the friends that I have, I still hold with them now.
Yeah, once you were at Chester, you was working with the community trust.
So what happened was with the community trust, when I got released from Wigan, I thought to myself, I need to earn some money here, because if I wasn't earning a lot as a player at Wigan, but as soon as I stopped being paid by Wigan, they stopped paying for me digs. So as you can imagine, it's like I need to pay for myself for here. So obviously going and playing for Salford and Borstal at the time was great, but definitely wasn't enough to pay keep. So I had to go and get a job, and at the time, Hayley Sherritt was at the head of the girls team. She was, I think she was joint head at the community trust, and I knew her through football and through everything and through the club, and I asked her to come in on a volunteering basis to see what I think, and then I got a couple of hours doing, like, whether it was kicks or after school clubs, and I started to do that, and I was enjoying it, and then I got more hours, and then like getting a full-time job at the trust, as I said, 14 years ago, and then since then I've gone from role to role. I've gone from working full-time to working 4 days a week because of football, other football things. But I said it before, like, without the trust, my whole football journey wouldn't be where it is, because right there backing, right there understanding of, let me finish early on a Tuesday to go play somewhere in the northeast on Tuesday night, and for them support me in my football role, I wouldn't have a career in football. I'll be back in Dublin now, so the trust has been nothing but a godsend for myself and my family, because even now I still work for them, and they still support me, and anytime I have a match, and they let me book days off, and anytime we play at home, we get some of the trust, like, workers come watching us, and it's I owe a lot to the trust, more than you can imagine, because of, as I said, right them, I don't think in football the journey would be the same.
Now, you mentioned there about the Mahon, you're the manager of Curzon Ashton, but before we talk about that, do you think, like, working for the trust is giving you crossover skills that you've been able to put into football, and vice versa? You've talked about your trial and getting you standing on your own feet. You've talked about your different times, your hard times. Do you think that those things that you've learned have crossed over into your work with the trust?
Absolutely. I think when I started at the trust, would have been 14 years ago, would have been 20 odd. You're still a young man, and I was learning, and I was just learning how to coach then. And I got me, I think it was UEFA, I think it's UEFA C, it's called now, or your level 2 of football. But I'd never really coached. So, ineffectively, the trust was starting my journey as a coach, because I was going into schools to teach football, and I was, it's good, I'm enjoying this, and it gave me that little bit of hunger. And then I was going into schools and delivering PE and delivering all that, and then working with different managers along the way, like Hayley and Wes was there, and then Tom took over, and obviously you got Garrett now. I've picked up so many things from them, and then we've got managers like SMT, you're amongst the trust now, where I see what they do with their staff and how they act and what they do on a daily basis, and I'm always looking to learn. And I think the trust obviously was a catapult for me to get back into football, but it was also the catalyst for me to get into management, because as I was going along my trust journey, the things I was picking up and learning have stuck with me, and I'm using today in my own job as manager. And at the moment I'm assistant manager in primary school, and a lot of things that I'm learning at Curzon I bring to the trust, and vice versa. A lot of things that I've learned from the trust I'm adapting to use at Curzon, because it's a very similar environment. You want to create somewhere where people enjoy. You want to make sure that people are happy, and you want to challenge people. And I think both jobs have coincided, and both jobs have made me better in their way retrospective in each job. And it's definitely helped me along the journey. And as I said, the trust has helped me in my football career, but now that I've gone into the coaching and the management side of it, I look back, I think it's helped me in that as well. So that's why I'm so grateful, and I owe trust so much for what they've done for me as a person.
There's a lot of crossover skills that you can see that, and your enthusiasm as well, it shines through.
Well, that's it. You've got to be enthusiastic. I don't want to put a damper on it, but I've had a lot of things that have happened in my life where it'd been tough moments. Couple of years ago, I lost a young family member, and the trust was supported with me then, and so was Curzon, and it's how you deal with them situation. And since that thing that happened with my family, I've changed as a person, and I think life puts different challenges up, and it's how you adapt to them. I think with the way my uncle left me on my own for a thing, it's all character building, and because of all the things that have happened in my life, whether good or bad, it makes you who you are, and the sort of grind you stone, and you learn to deal with things differently. And life has definitely, it has its ups and downs, as I said, but all the things that have happened have led me to being able to deal with certain things, and it's sort of created me to be this person that I try to be on a daily basis. And it's definitely given me the sort of hard skin that you need as a manager, because I'm sure, like as Shaw will tell you, when you're winning or losing, you're always wanting to be better. You're always wanting to do more. And when you lose a game, it's tough, and it does take a toll on you as manager. I've had sleepless nights, even when we drawn. You know what I mean? Wondering what I could have done. Did I make the right subs? Did I make the right decisions? So I'm sure the things that have happened in my life will help me along the way, and sort of make me a bit of a stronger person to deal with setbacks, as they call them.
Well, you're doing all right as well this year of Curzon Ashton. I have to say, I mean, your win rate is about 50%.
Yeah, we're doing okay. I think it was obviously a strange scenario with Curzon. A couple of years back, we had a manager who had left during the year that took over for a couple of games, and just as interim, and I enjoyed it, and I thought I did enjoy it. I was like, I like that. That might be something for when I stop playing. And then last season in September, our manager then got a job at a full-time club, and he left, and the club said, would you step in on a more of a permanent basis at the time? And I still thought to myself as an interim, after a couple of weeks, they'll bring someone in who has a bit of experience. But I started to enjoy it. I started to get results, and we were doing really well, and the club offered me a full-time contract, and it was a really good lane curve. It was similar to what happened with my uncle, where I was just thrown in the deep end, and you had to sink or swim. And I thought, right, well, I'm going to have to, if I'm going to sing, I'm going to sing trying. And I threw everything I could into it. I gave as much time and effort as I could do without killing myself. And it was definitely paid off, because we ended up getting to the playoffs last year for the first time in the club's history. I think we broke 13 of the records of the club. So it was definitely a successful season. And this year's we're just trying to do the same again. We're not a big club in numbers, but we're big at heart. So we've got a really nice feel about us. Everybody knows each other, and it's that non-league mentality that we try to go and prove people wrong. And we've started well this year. I think we're 6th in the league now, but I think we've got a couple of games in hand. But I'd rather have the points than the games. But we've just got to keep going. And we know people probably expect us to be down relegation zone battling or a lower mid-table team, but we're trying to overachieve and try to prove people wrong, and we do that by creating an environment that lads enjoy. And I've been around football for a while, and the better the environment, usually the better the team. So I think that's what the trust does as well. If you look what they're doing over there, we're trying to create an environment where we have good staff, good people, and if we can do that with the amount of work that the trust does going out into the local community, and from the ages from 2 up till 90 they work with, and that enthusiasm and that wanting to help is installed into us, and we try to do that when we go out to, as I said, to the community, and try to create that environment outside as well.
And what about the future? Where do you see future?
I'm still enjoying playing. I still do little cameos every now and again when I feel like it's the right time. It's I still love playing, and I've still got that hunger. And even last night when I was training, we were playing small-sided games, and I hate losing, and I end up kicking my own players. But I've still got that hunger to want to be the best, and want to play every game. And until I lose that, I'll keep playing. But definitely the management at the trust and the management at Curzon gave me a hunger for it. And obviously we only do it part time. It would probably be down the years when I still got loads of time to learn. And as I said, Curzon was a perfect scenario, with being a club that they have got sort of places where they want to go, but there's no pressure as such. You know what I mean? So it's the perfect place for me to learn. But obviously, as a manager and as a coach, you want to sort of challenge yourself. So at the moment, I just got to keep learning, and if a new challenge comes up, like the chess does, the boards goes through my life, if a new challenge does come up and does, and I get offered it, I'd always love to try do full time or anything like that. But at the moment, I just got to focus on me both jobs now, make sure my family's okay, and just keep going and keep working hard and see where it takes me.
I think you've got a fabulous attitude to life as well as you work, and I'll just say we're very much an adoptive Wiganer, whether you like it or not.
Yeah,
the kids are Wiganers.
Yeah, but it's strange one now, because if I've actually lived in Wigan longer than I lived in Ireland, so it's a strange feeling that I've lived away from home a lot more than I've been at home. But yeah, listen, Wigan's definitely second home, and I'm still. I even say I like things me. You're up with me at the end of sentences, and I meet me boys are go to obviously local school, and they're proper Wiganers. They support. They love the club. They come watch every game, and it's Wigan's definitely got a hold of my heart. I came here when I was 17 and 36 now, and I'm still here. So they must be doing something right. Must be something in the water. But no, yeah, it's definitely me home from home, as they call it. I think Dublin will always be me home, but Wigan's definitely me home from home, and it's something that it's instilled into me and the family.
Great, Mahon. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir.